Martin Kemp joins us now.
Great to be here.
Every time you go anywhere, any
It is,
show,
the
anything.
supermarket, anywhere.
If they have they ever done that? Because sometimes they play music. Have you ever noticed someone put the tracks on while you've been walking around a shop?
Yeah, of course.
Seriously?
Yeah, of course. And they're all looking over the counter as well. Oh, got it, got it.
That's brilliant. So you've got a new show on Saturday night,
Yeah.
Greatest Hits of the 80s. I mean, I want to say why and how now, but it's kind of like, why is it not already happening, right?
Well, I've always done Friday nights on Greatest Hits Radio.
Mixtape.
Yeah, I do 70s, 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like party nights, gets the weekend going. But now we're doing Saturday nights as well, 7 till 10, and we're just going to do all 80s.
Just 80s.
Yeah.
Just brilliant.
And from your perspective, Martin, you think the 80s is your favourite decade? You think it's got the...
It's the 80s that, you know, it's the decade that I grew up in, that, you know, I became a man in. And, you know, everybody's got their favourite decade. When I was growing up, my mum and dad were talking about how good the 60s were.
Right.
You know, and... but for us, for my generation, it was the 80s. It was a decade of everything was larger than life, from the hair to the shoulder pads to, you know, a lot of people, if you were lucky, were earning big money. And it was all larger than life. So it's a great decade to look back on.
You've actually spoken before about that nightclub, the Blitz, and how everybody would go down there. And it was kind of like you could dream as big as you wanted to dream.
It was all about
basically.
ambition. You know, the 80s was like, if you've got to imagine what it was like in 79, right?
Yeah.
From 79 to 80, on that New Year's Eve, it was like somebody switched a colour switch on. And all those magazines that were in, like New Musical Express and Melody Maker, all in black and white, all turned to smash hits, the Face, everything became in colour. Even my mum and dad never got a colour TV until 1980.
Oh, really?
So everything just exploded. And it was... And I think that's why we look back at it so fondly as well, because it wasn't just us who changed as people, it was the tech as well. So records were sounding better, everything was becoming bigger and better.
The clothes were certainly better. I remember looking at old Spandau pictures
could say
and videos.
that,
No, I do. I still think
say
that.
that.
Well, because as the decade turned, I was 6 in 1980 and had all these... I mean, it felt like the decade of possibilities. Like
It was
possible.
exactly
For sure.
that. It was ambition. You were allowed to dream.
Yeah, and you could wear outrageous clothes and no one judged you for it. Your mum made a load of your clothes, is that right?
Yeah, my mum made some... If we were going on Top of the Pops, my mum would get the machine out the night before and run it up. But, you were allowed to wear what you wanted to, and we definitely did.
She made you trousers, but she didn't put any zip in them, is that right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And we went up, we were doing promo with Spandau Ballet once. We were on a little aeroplane going to Belgium, and all of a sudden, it was only when we were up in the air that we realised there was no zip in them. Which wasn't good.
No.
Stop drinking.
Sipping water.
Good.
Sipping water. And you're travelling all around the country at the moment DJing.
Well, you know, the first reason I wanted to do Greatest Hits on a Friday night was because I go out and I gig 80s on Friday and a Saturday night.
Must be so... Because you
Back to
can see the
80s
whites
tour.
of people's eyes.
Yeah, I wanted music for them to get ready to before they come to our gigs.
Yes.
But I do probably about 130 shows a year.
Wow.
And so we're always out every weekend, and it's 1,000 people just singing their hearts out. You can't... It is the most euphoric thing I have ever been involved in.
Brilliant.
You know, I do so much of it, but every time it doesn't fail to astound me how the adrenaline and endorphins I get from it.
Are the Spandau fans still as sort of intense and crazy as they were? Did one of them once pull your arm out?
They're a bit
of the
older
socket?
now.
Well, so they're not quite as touchy-feely. You were in one gig and a Spandau van reached up, grabbed your arm and pulled it out of its...
Yeah, but it was lucky because the roadie came on and put it back in.
Mel Gibson style.
I was in Japan, and then the next night I had to go on, and they thought in Japan what they'd do, strap it up, they'd put loads of little needles around it.
Oh, yeah,
because
acupuncture,
little tight, about 100 little ones. So the next night I was on stage, it was the most painful night I'd ever been in. It wasn't the dislocated shoulder that I was worried about. It was the needles.
They put in.
So what happens when you're travelling around the country? Does Shirley come with you?
No.
So how do you do it?
No, you don't take your wife to work, do you?
Okay,
You know, or your husband or your partner to work with you.
Yeah.
And it's work, you know, and I get off and I go and do it. But it's good because Shirley and I'm a big believer in you have to have your own space in a relationship. And if you're allowed to be your own person as well, and you have to keep that. And that's when you come back together, it's a lot better.
Your son is taking his dad to work at the moment, though, as well.
Yeah.
It's taking dad to work day because you've got a new podcast.
Yeah, we've got a podcast, came out yesterday. I'm not allowed to say the beginning of the prefix of the title, but you can look at that for yourself. But the rest of it is My Dad is Martin Kemp. So you'll have to have a look at what that is. But, Roman came to me and he said, Dad, I've got an idea for a podcast. I want... Before you die, I want all the information that you've got, all those nuggets of knowledge that you have in your head, wisdom, I want to find out what they are so that when you do go, I can look back on the tape and find out if I've got a problem, what the answer is.
Do you know what I love about this, Martin? It sounds very like the sort of conversation me and my brother and sister have with my dad as well.
Yeah.
Like, you're just very honest and open about it, have a really good laugh, but you genuinely are sitting there going, right then, Dad, so when you die, where do you think you're going to make the BAFTAs roll of call, NTAs, TV Quick Awards?
That's what Roman asked me. But listen, Roman and I, this is like us on Gogglebox sofa, but X-rated.
So charming.
Right, OK.
X-rated version of that, because we banter as if we are sitting in the pub. And it's me and Roman at home. So we've had a lot of fun. I spent 3 weeks recording it, and I was crying with laughter, and I loved every minute of it.
How's he getting on with his lie-ins now? Is he enjoying having a bit more
He
time?
loves it, yeah, not getting up, doing that breakfast show every morning. He came to me a long time ago and said, I want to leave. And I said, are you sure? You know, is this what you want to do? Roman never takes advice from me, ever. He never takes advice about his career. He only takes advice about people. If he's got kind of like a life problem, he'll come to me. From, age and experience, but never about his career.
Yeah. It's so funny. To go to work and just really enjoy it with your boy must be the most amazing.
It's beautiful. Yeah, it is beautiful. You know, to be honest, a lot of the times I look forward to working with him just to see him. Because I know, girls come home. My daughter comes home all the time. She stays with me. Yeah. Boys, you don't go home.
No.
Don't say that. I've got two and I'm terrified at that moment.
This is becoming more apparent. My 17 and 19-year-old, I ain't sure they're not coming home.
Once they go, they don't want to come back.
Don't say that.
Because they're usually going round to their girlfriends or something else.
I'm feeling Shirley's pain now. I'm feeling her pain.
Martin, thanks so much for coming in.
My pleasure.
Good luck with the new Saturday night show and the podcast as well.
Greatest Hits Radio.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.